What brought you to Long Beach?
My parents were here. So that's how we got to Long Beach. My father moved here from Queens. My parents moved here from Queens.
Where in Queens, do you know?
They lived in Jackson Heights
Ah, Jackson Heights. Okay.
at the time.
Okay.
It was a military, it was area they had there for the military.
Right, okay. Okay, so was your father in the
Oh,
military?
yeah, he was an officer.
Okay, an officer.
Yeah, I don't remember what office right now off the top of my head though, but that's where we were. We lived in Jackson Heights
Okay,
in Queens.
okay. And when you came here, did you go to the local schools?
Yes.
Do you have some memories about going to school at all?
Yeah, for the most part, I guess they were pleasant. It was different,
Mhm.
you know, from where we were. Because where we were in Jackson Heights, it was an area that they had kind of like dedicated, you know, for the military. So they had a lot of things there for those people, you know, that you don't see in communities, you know.
I see. Okay, and when did you move? When did your parents move here?
You're going to ask me what year now, is it?
Well,
I
about.
don't remember. What grade was I in? I don't know. I was still in elementary school.
Mhm.
I remember that part, but I don't remember what year it was off the top of my head.
Was it the 40s? 30s?
No, I was born in the 40s, so I know it wasn't the 30s.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. I don't know what the years it was. Come to think of it. Let me think how old I was. It was in the 50s probably. We
Okay.
lived there, maybe the 50s, maybe the early 60s, I'm not sure about that. Because you've probably been in Long Beach a long time.
Okay. Okay, and what kept your family in Long Beach? Was there work?
There was work, and my father was a minister, he's a pastor. He pastored the church here, one of the main churches here. He belonged to a lot of different committees
Mhm.
here, and he had like, there was some, whatever military had going on here, he belonged to that too. So he belonged to a lot of things.
What was the name of the church that he was?
Christian Light.
Christian Light?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, and who were some of the significant people in the community?
Oh, at that time, let me see. Oh goodness. I wasn't that old now. Let me see. But he came.
Well, even as you were growing up, who
Oh.
do you remember?
Gosh. I know these people too. I just can't think of their names. Oh God.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I know these people. They were in and out of the house. They were on different committees. They were, you know, they were some of the politicians.
Mhm.
Because my father, you know, he worked along with them, you know, and they, you know, they helped along with, you know, and with the church, like the zoning, I don't know, stuff like that, all that. But anyway, now I can't remember people's names.
Well, that's okay. What's your father's name and
My
your mom's
father's name is Jessie.
Okay.
Jesse Evans.
Okay, your father was Jesse Evans.
Yes.
Because he was pretty much a celebrity in town.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
He knew
Yes.
everybody. Everybody knew him. He belonged to this. He belonged to that. But Long Beach was different then than it is now.
Okay, how?
Well, now it's more people here,
Mhm.
and the people, I don't know if it's generational or what, but the people, when I was growing up here, people were more like, what do you call it? I use neighborhood for lack of a word, that kind of attitude, you know. People were friendly, you moved in, and people knocked on the door, you know, we're your neighbor, you know, blah, blah, you know.
You
But-
felt like you belonged to a community?
Yeah, but, and then as I got older, I see that's not just Long Beach, that's like everywhere, you know.
Mhm.
Things, you know, times are different, people are different.
Okay.
I mean, everybody was nice, but I'm just saying people, you know, was different than it is now.
Okay. Can you highlight some of your dad's or some of the accomplishments of the people that you knew?
Let's see. Well, okay, the street at the end of the block here
Mhm.
is named after my father.
Right.
That's Reverend J.J. Evans Boulevard.
Right.
Okay. And he did so much for a lot of people religiously, health-wise, legally. You know, a lot of the lawyers, you know, would ask him sometimes about different people and things like that. And he, you know, he was just involved in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where he was educated?
Not here, not here in New York. He went to school. You know, he grew up in Georgia. He went to Southern schools, but here, he did go to school here and take a lot of different courses. Right now, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember, but he did. You know, he took different courses here in New York and got some more degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was coming out here all this stuff. Yeah. So, but he did go to school here and get further degrees.
Okay, and you said you were a nurse.
Yeah, I'm a nurse.
Okay,
Yeah.
so where did you go to school?
I went to Fordham. I went to Fordham University School of Nursing
Mm-hmm.
in the Bronx. Yeah.
Okay, and did you work in Long Beach in the community, or did you work outside the community?
Pretty much outside of the community. After I graduated, got licensed and everything. Because that's in the Bronx, and I lived here
Oh, okay.
in Long Beach. Everything that was in the Bronx.
So you lived here for your whole life, generally?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, we lived here. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What do you think kept you in Long Beach?
I don't know. I was working here and didn't seem to be a whole lot going on. Well, and then they were, back in those days, people were committed, I would say more committed to community issues. And there were a lot of things. Long Beach was still like in a growing stage, I would call it. Long Beach is very different now. But the people that were here, there were people that came here from other places. And it was very few people, like my family, that were already here that knew hardly anything about Long Beach. So all the other people that came, they were coming from other places. So everybody in Long Beach was growing, you know, in that respect too.
Right.
My father was busy with that. He pastored the church.
Mm-hmm. Where was
And,
the church located?
The church is, when you get to the end of this block,
Mhm.
and you make a right turn, you go one block on the corner there, you see the church. That's
Okay.
the church.
Was it always there when you first started it?
No, I forgot, where was it, Margaret, when we first started? I forget.
In a garage.
Oh, that's right. When we first started, we was in the garage by the old incinerator, which is the area, that all that area is different.
Right.
It was over there by the bridge and all. And then when they did, in Long Beach, when they started redistricting things and redoing things, then the church moved on this street.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what it was. I don't even know what the name of it was at the time. But it was nothing on there. It was just a stretch. And people came down all the different blocks. You made a left turn and you went to Park Avenue, which was the main street.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they named the street at some point. I forget what year that was too. They named the street after my father. That's
You
Reverend
did.
J.J. Evans Boulevard.
Right. Right.
All right.
Okay. Now you worked at Long Beach Hospital.
Let me see how long. I didn't work there long. I didn't work. I can't even say too much about it because I didn't work there that long, and the hospital was very small
At the time.
at the time. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall what years? Was that in the 60s or it was?
Oh, goodness. Must have been maybe either in the late 60s or maybe the early or middle 70s, something like that.
70s. Okay.
Like that. And the hospital was very, what would it call it? By that time, I was living, I went to school to Fordham University there in the Bronx and all. So I was used to the bigger hospitals and the faster pace and all of that. But that hospital here, Long Beach Hospital, it was kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like an accelerated nursing home, I guess, if you compare it to a busy hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked over there for a while.
My grandfather was a minister, and they traveled, so he could preach all over Long Island, and then decided to start a church here and move the family here. And at the time, Long Beach wasn't as segregated or integrated, I think is what I want to say.
Right.
Right. So many of the African Americans that came here, like they were, what do they call them? I mean, like live-in aides or like sleeping.
They call them girls. And
Yeah, like the live-in girls, and they would just kind of like come and either do the housekeeping or or they'd be the nannies or things like that. But that's how
service jobs.
Yeah, they had the service jobs, and slowly, that's where the people. The African American community started to form because people would just kind of plant roots here after their jobs or have children and get married and things like that. And that was kind of like the early days when my grandfather started the church. And it's actually our neighbors' families. I think it's maybe like their great grandmother or something at the time, the Reeder family who lives right next door. Their grandmother, great grandmother had a house and an extra garage, and gave the church the garage. We gave my grandfather the garage to start the church, and that is how the church, the early days of the church, and then. I think, she mentioned fast forward, there was the fire. I remember hearing stories of that really bringing the Long Beach community together, like the interfaith. Whether it's I would remember, and I can't think of the pastors at the time, but like the People's Church and St. Mary's and, just all of the different faiths, not just, the church, the Christian church, the Baptist church, but the synagogues, and just everyone really coming together to support the family and to support my grandfather. The Interfaith Society was also really instrumental in helping to build Christian Light Church along with the city of Long Beach, and as well as the attachment, the Margaret Evans Center, which is the center attached to the church, which was named after the late Margaret Evans, Reverend Evans' wife, and her mother, my grandmother. I definitely remember hearing stories at the time that those were the family challenges that really brought the community together, and not just this community, the North Park community, but Long Beach as a whole. I definitely can't remember some of the names of the people at the time, but definitely like my grandfather, as well as my father, had very positive relationships with the city of Long Beach. My father was an employee.
What was your father's name?
Pearlie Wilson.
He was Pearl.
And he worked for, he was a CSEA member, and worked for transportation and highway, and the bus garage, for many years, probably 20, 30 something years. I think that's really some of the only.
Committeeman for the district.
He was committeeman, right, for the Democratic Party. So very instrumental in the North Park area, and really advocating for the community, as well as emphasizing the importance of voting and attending city council meetings and things, and really just getting this community engaged. My father was instrumental in that, as well as the church. I think my mother mentioned that at the time, Christian Light was probably the first, if not the first, one of the first African American churches in this neighborhood in Long Beach at the time. So it was, it brought a lot of people here, brought a lot of people together in the community. And like I said, and whenever there were any challenges that my grandfather faced, the city and the interfaith community was always a huge part in helping him and in helping us.
Yeah. He was very well respected and well known. Your grandfather.
Yeah, I think definitely had my grandfather had a very positive relationship, as my mother mentioned. He was extremely selfless, extremely, would do for everyone, would give for everyone, and still had a job, for many years. But I've never heard anyone, have any negative feedback. Was also very instrumental with the MLK Center in its early days of getting that built and started. So Yeah, I think, for us, not a lot of the family is still local. We've kind of, spread out, and some of the family is now south and west. So it is really important, for us that are remaining in New York area and the Long Beach area to kind of, keep these memories alive. Because as you mentioned, like, there are not very many people still around that remember those, that history, that part of Long Beach history.
Right.
I never forget, he was with so many people, he did so many things. We went to some big function one time, and I was the only, I think I was the only black person there, the only black woman there. And they would talk about him, and then they got to say, well, they were like shocked that I was his daughter. I said, what, did they think he would have a white daughter or what? I don't know. But we were like, I don't think it was more than 3 black people in this whole place. But they were shocked, But when we came to Long Beach was very different. You shaking your head no?
No, I'm thinking they were more, not as welcoming, or not as much of a community.
There wasn't, to me, it wasn't that much of a community. And the people were like in groups,
Like cliques.
like cliques or something. That's the way it seemed to me. And now when we lived in the other place, like I said, that was for the military. So everybody kind of like, knew everybody, or if you didn't know them, you knew of them. And people, they had things, and people got together who came to Long Beach. Long Beach was very different. They had this group, they had that group, they had that group, and people didn't seem to mingle too much, or didn't know each other. I'm a child. I don't know what this is. And you went to school, and the school was different. Not that the people wasn't nice and everything, but it was just a totally different experience. That we had, over there in Jackson Heights. That was the name of it. And they had dedicated that for some of the men that were coming, back home and all. There were a lot of families there, and people, knew each other and got together and stuff like that. But in Long Beach, when we came here in the group, everybody was like in groups.
Okay. Can you just talk a little bit about, you said your dad was in the military, and that there was other military members of the community here? Is that how
When
it
we came
was?
to Long Beach?
Yes.
When we came to Long Beach, there was a few here, and I didn't really know those people or know too much about them. A kid myself, I'm in school. But he did. He got, he went over and he got involved. And he was a pastor, but he belonged to a lot of different he was also a Mason. He belonged to a lot of other different organizations.
Okay.
And he worked a full-time job, which back in that area, many pastors didn't. The full-time job was, pastoring, their church.
Right. What did he work, what additional job did he have?
He worked in the bedding business in
Bedding?
the city. Bedding, yeah, there where they manufactured all kind of bedding stuff, mattresses and this and that. I don't know, he didn't do actually too much work. He did a lot of the paperwork and some of the business. He was more on the business end of it. When he first started, he went in there and they taught him how to make mattresses and stuff like that. But he got away from that, and he was in the business part of it more.
So he did 2 full-time jobs then,
Yeah.
as a pastor and as a
Right.
and
So
his
he was
other
a pastor,
job.
right?
Okay.
And in that particular time, maybe it might still be, a lot of pastors, the full-time job was pastoring their church.
Right. Yes.
That took the full time. So, but he put just as much time to that as he did his regular job. He had some schedule. He was a Mason. I mean, he was a lot of things. A lot of things. They named the street down there after that block there, that Reverend J.J. Evans Boulevard.